Well, it's about 10 o'clock on Thursday. Thursday's lunch day with the old farts, PHARTZ. And I just thought I'd show you what we've done in the last couple of days. We've probably spent between 5 and 6 or so, a lot of hours on the back end of this bike, just cleaning it up, cleaning the crud out, and then touching up the paint. So it looks pretty good now. I have a new oil filter down there. I date these things. Usually I put the mileage on them too. I got lazy today. Got the rear brake assembly installed, ready for the caliper. And basically I've been doing cleanup. Took all of this apart, put new rubber shock absorbers on it, cleaned it all up. Doesn't seem like much that it would take that long, but I mean, it was pretty cruddy dirty, and it did take that long. This caliper is completely rebuilt and ready to go back on. This caliper is on hold because the the pucks were kind of worn. I don't know why this one was. These pucks were pristine. These pucks, let's see if you can see the wear there. They're not going back in there. But the other ones showed absolutely zero wear. So I'm going to get 2 new pucks for this one. So that's where we are. This part up at the front, I'm going to clean him up. Now that's my job for right now. Actually, I'm going to go to lunch and then come back and clean him up. I spent a bunch of time doing the mufflers. They look really nice. A lot of polishing there. A lot of chrome polish. The chain guard looks pretty good. It's got miles on it. And that's where we are. So I don't think I'll publish this by itself, but I just wanted to show you where we are. Got the assimilator mounted here, rectifier here. These are the wires that go to the assimilator. I'll plug them in. That's held in place with silicone. And then I'm going to do a lot of polishing on this. This is ugly. I think I'll get the Dremel tool out with the buffing wheel and see what I can do. So once we get the tire back from the tire shop today, we'll put that on and be able to spin the bike around and then do the front wheel. So here's the old caliper mount up here, ready to go back on. Oh, we're coming along. Fred's starting to look better. Now if we can get the front end as pretty as the back end, we'll be in pretty good shape. Well, it's 6:30 in the morning on Friday, and we're heading out for coffee now, Kevin and Steve. And I just thought I'd mention, because I forgot to mention in the previous video, that yea, verily, I did take all this apart and clean all these bits and pieces. All this. But then I gave Kevin the absolute pleasure of figuring out how to put all that back together. So kudos to Kevin for getting that back together, because it's amazing how when you could have put all these pieces together, they just don't make sense. And it's an adventure. So anyway, here's the new tire on the wheel. And sometime after coffee this morning, we will put that rear wheel on the bike. So there's still things to be done, a lot to be done. Got to get that taillight that broken taillight off of there and welded. Yeah. Anyway, things to do. Bits and pieces, bits and pieces. This is draped here to protect the battery. That's the hot connector right there. You don't want this chain touching that. So, okay, fine. Oh, this ought to be interesting. It's Saturday, it's about noon. I've been messing around out here. And I'm finally ready to bleed, or to fill and bleed the rear brake on this, on Fred. And I'm going to try a few different things. I got some good suggestions last time I videoed a brake bleeding. And I'm going to try something different on this one. First of all, I've got my compressor air hose hanging over there on a spoke. And I'm going to use the compressor air into the bleed hole. Now remember, this is the caliper that I had to modify. This bleeder is broken off, and I do not have the technology or materials or tools needed to undrill it. I tried, and it didn't work. So I just drilled a new bleed hole right here. I actually tried to make it so that the bleeder screw would work into it, and I drilled it too deep. So that was a failure because the bleeder hole went down in there and intersected with the original passage, and it wouldn't seal. So that was my fault. I think if I drilled it shallower and tapped it, that possibly I could have put a bleeder screw of the type used here, into there, and I could have used a real live honest to God bleeder. Uh, I hope that in the next 20 years I never have to do this again. So this is just an experiment here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the air pressure. I'm going to inject it in here in order to pop these pistons all the way out against the rotor, meaning that the space inside the caliper is as large as possible. Then I'm going to use a hypodermic to inject brake fluid in here until I fill up both chambers, hopefully. Don't know if it's going to work, but it ought to be interesting. I'm going to put as much in here as I possibly can. I'm going to have some brake fluid in here at the same time, and I'm going to hope that I can use enough pressure with the little hypodermic needle syringe to force the fluid all the way back to the master cylinder. I don't think it's going to work, but I thought I'd try it. So between filling this with maximum I can through the bleed screw, hopefully filling up both chambers, don't know if I will. I could actually loosen this and see, but I probably won't. I don't know. This is a pain in the, well, this is a pain undoing that. So we're going to see. I'm going to pop these all the way in with the air, fill this up with as much as I can, fill this up as much as I can, and then I have a tube over there that'll fit into here, and I will bleed it the traditional way into my new brake bleeding canister. Now, this is my new one. Just for grins, I'll show you. This is my old one. That's 20 years of bleeding brakes, and I finally decided I think I'll retire that. So that's got to go to recycle. This is my new one, and I actually put a metal tube all the way down to the bottom, so it's down here in what oil is in there, which is not a lot, just from one bleeding. But it's all the way down to the bottom, this metal tube. And then this flexible tube and adapter tubes will fit the master cylinders, plural, as I bleed them. So I've got some .4 sitting here, and I've got the syringe sitting here with a grommet on it for sealing. And I'm going to go over there and try to start this process, and I'll put this into the tripod so you can see and enjoy the hilarity that may ensue. It's all an experiment. I've never done this kind of thing before, and let's see what happens. All right, let's try to blow the caliper pistons in against the disc and see what happens. Right now, whoa, that worked nicely. Yep, they should be all the way in now. So, that means I have maximum capacity on both sides of the caliper. So, that was fun. All right, let's see if we can fill it with hydraulic fluid now. With using the little syringe. I have no idea what's going to happen here. And here comes Prime. In there against a grommet. Hello there. Hi there. I'll stop this. All right, well, that was an Amazon Prime delivery. So let's go back to this. We're going to force some more of this brake fluid into the caliper and see if it'll travel all the way to the master cylinder. I don't think it will, but let's give it a shot. I've got fluid in here that I just put in here, and we'll see if I get any air bubbles or anything at all out of that, out of this effort. I'm going to hold it down really, really tight against the grommet, like that. No sign of bubbles. Whoa, there are bubbles. I got bubbles. Bubbles are good. I'll be darned. Let's shoot another syringe full through. I'm still getting bubbles. I'm holding this down tight against the grommet, like this. Oh, bubbles. I'm going to take the camera over there and show you. I think you'll get a kick out of this. Let's see if you can see what's in the master cylinder. That's pretty good. I don't know if you can hear that leaf blower in the background. Foreground, it's way over on top of the hill, and it's still making me crazy. I hate those gas blowers. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to inject some more and see if we get some more bubbles here. Here we go. Yeah, bubbles. And raising the level. And we're also leaking over here somehow. So we got pressure. I have to figure out where the leak is here, whether it's the switch or no, it's more likely the hose connection right here. So that was a successful experiment. I think that if I push this down, I should get oil fluid out of the top of my caliper. And I'm just going to try for that just to see what happens before I try to find out where the leak is. So let's just put this here like this. Okay, and I'll reach over here with my third hand and try to see if we get oil out of there. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so we're actually pumping. We're also leaking, so I got to fix this leak down here underneath. That seems like it's leaking from right behind the you can see it right there. That's where the hose goes into the brake switch assembly. So let me try to figure out what's leaking, tighten it up, and see if I can get it tight. And this is pretty interesting. I've enjoyed this. Okay, looks a little bit of Rube Goldberg, but it's the tubing I have, so it's the tubing I'll work with. I'm going to pump a complete master cylinder full of fluid through the system, then stick my finger over the little bleed hole that I drilled and quickly put in the plug, and then we'll see if we have brakes. The leak, by the way, was coming from the pipe going into the bottom of the brake switch. We had simply not tightened it. It was only in there hand tight. So let's see what happens when I fill this up and then try the brakes. There's bubbles. Tiny bubbles bumping out. Now I've got pretty much no bubbles at all. And I put about a whole master cylinder in here, and I'm not getting bubbles anymore. I think I have a solid system, and I'm going to stop right there, pull this out, and put this in. I'm going to put this in real quick, sealing the caliper. There we go. That should be tight. All right, let's get that out of the way. Let's see if we have brakes. Okay, my seal is not working here. I can see that. May have to come up with a better seal. Still leaking. I'm getting brake, but it's still leaking up here. I may have to do something different. Good getting brake. But I think there's still air in there. And we are still leaking up here. May have to rethink this seal. If this strips, I'll have to rethink it. Now, where am I leaking from? I'm losing pressure somewhere. And I'm still leaking up here. All right, I'm going to stop this for a moment while I try to figure out what all this is coming from. Whether it's the caliper, and I think it is. I think it's the caliper itself leaking. So we're going to stop this for a few minutes. Okay, well, to quote the great Yogi Bear, it feels like deja vu all over again. I took the caliper apart, took the brand new seals out, cleaned them and blessed them, checked all the orifices, made sure that when I drilled that extra bleeding hole that I didn't accidentally come into the wrong side of the puck seal, but I hadn't. All I'd done is into the passageway that was already there, so I didn't do anything wrong that way. I'm going to do the whole process again. I'm going to fill the puck up with, first of all, I'm going to hit it with air to drive it all the way in, drive the brakes all the way in. Then I'm going to fill up the cylinder with the hypodermic. Then I'm going to try to force enough through to get bubbles into the master cylinder. Then I'm going to seal it. Then I'm going to try a pressure system, using the pedal to see if the brakes will hold the rear wheel. That's where we are, right back at the beginning, starting over. Here we go. Getting bubbles over in the master cylinder, so we know that much is working. Dot 4. Bubbles, and the level is rising, so I am getting it all the way back there. So one more time, otherwise I'm going to overflow that master cylinder. Okay, the whole system is full now. Pump just a little bit through here. There, that's full all the way to the brim. So there's no air bubbles left in the caliper. I'm going to seal it now. I'm using a copper washer this time instead of that fiber washer. Let's see if I get a nice tight seal or not. Then I'll try a aluminum washer, if I can find one. And if that doesn't work, I'll try a rubber washer. That's nice and tight. Okay, let's see if we can get any pressure. Well, it's leaking right here. Right there, it's leaking. I don't know. I do not know, Sam, I am. Still leaking right there by the edge. I'm beginning to think this is a bad experiment. Still leaking. I don't know. Well, I just can't stop it. I'm going to strip it. That's what I'm going to do. I know that. Look at that. I mean, it's a squirt. It's not just a leak. It's a squirt. Getting good brake. think I've sealed that. As my lady friend sits up there in the car with the engine running. I'm getting a good brake, but I've got a lot of pedal. I'm going to hold the pressure here and see if I can break any bubbles free up here. Still leaking right there. I don't know. It's leaking out the back of the caliper again. Look at that. Yeah, it's still leaking right out the back of the caliper. Okay, I'm going to take the other caliper and rebuild it, put it here, and see what happens. Not a good day. All right, let's take this caliper apart again. First thing I'm going to do is leave it alone. I've got the pads out. I'm going to use air pressure in the Gazinta to blow the pucks out of their cylinders. And I always cover it like this because you get a great cloud of brake fluid when you do this. Okay? Naturally, it's that one that came out, wouldn't you know it? Let's put this in the vise now and take this cover off. This is a brand new seal here. Okay? Brand new. Just put it on. Okay, so now with that piston plugged in, punched in that way, we can reach in here and take out the other brand new seal. I use an X-Acto knife, go into the side, down below the level, lift it up, put my finger in there, and then just take it out. The small amount of puncture on the side of that seal doesn't affect anything, okay? Now this piston here should come out. and that fell out. Now we got to get this piston out. And what we do is use air pressure again by blowing into this hole, I think it is, to get air back behind that piston and blow it out of there. I could also use this guy. But let's do it. Let's pretend I don't have. Oh, see, you can also blow into the bleed hole. So let's pretend the bleed hole works. Okay, so let's try blowing into the bleed hole as if we were blowing into this bleed hole and popping this piston out of here. Now, for safety, put something in here to stop it because you don't want it blowing out and hitting you and hurting you, because it will blow out of there, and if it's lucky, it'll come out clear and it'll hurt you. So let's see what happens when I just do this into the bleed hole. All right, so I got to blow it into the actual hole that feeds that guy. That didn't work. I can see it trying. I can see it leaking. I can see it leaking around that puck when I blow air into it. Right there. So, take a chance when we put my finger in here over this hole. Don't like to do that. It's dangerous. All right, I'm gonna close down here for a minute. Normally I can pop that out by putting air into this hole that goes over to this side. Not working right now. Worked a few minutes ago. So this guy's stuck. Wonder if I can get him in far enough to pull out the seal. I'm gonna try pushing him in to see if I can get him away from the seal. All right, I don't know why that inside puck won't come out. I checked my air pressure, it was down to about 10 or 15 pounds, so maybe that was it. I've turned on the compressor, I got a good 100 pounds over there. I'm gonna try again. Now, inside here, I don't know if you can see this. Let me get a light. There are two holes right there. The bottom hole, this one, see that light? That's where the hydraulic juice comes in. Then it goes out that top hole over to this side and activates that puck on the other side. So we need to put air into this hole in order to blow this puck on that side out of its little hole. So that's what I've done. I've got more power available. More power. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And I'm going to try to apply it to this at an angle and blow that puck right out of its hole. So let's see what happens. First of all, I am going to put a safety bar across here because when it comes out, it comes out explosively. So let's see if more power solves the problem. Boy, that sucker is some kind of tight. It's not budging. In a minute, I'm going to use the slam down method. I don't like the slam down method. I don't think it's going to work. But that puck is way in there. And it just won't come out. It's not moving at all. They don't give you any way of grabbing it and pulling it out. That didn't move at all. And that didn't move at all. That's not moving at all. All right, I'm not sure what's happening. I'm just going to cut this off for a while and take a break. All right, grasping at straws here. Trying to warm that caliper up. I'm going to get it good and hot and see if I can slam that guy down on the steel plate enough to jar that puck loose. Let's see what happens. All right, we're doing the same thing over again. Now this is the other caliper. This is the caliper off the front. I rebuilt it using the pucks from the rear because one set of pucks, I think, from this caliper were badly corroded and they're not usable, so I've ordered new ones. So I put the other pucks in here with all new seals. This is a nice stock unmodified caliper, and I'm going to do the same thing over again. I'm going to fill it through the bleeder hole all the way out to the master cylinder, and then we're going to see if we have breaks. Lots of air coming out of the master cylinder. Lots of air. Now, I never put these brakes all the way out like I usually do, the pads. I could try that now and see how much I get out of here. Let's do that. I'm going to move the pucks all the way out. Let's see how badly I spray myself with spray. Oof. Wow, that came out of here quick. So we poked both of those out. That was surprising. Whoa! And there comes the fluid. All right. Let's put the bleeder in and see if we have any pressure. All right. Okay. Now let's put the the bottle on there. Now let's see. How do I adapt this? All right, that fits pretty tight. Yeah, fuck it. I got to get a better way to hook onto this thing. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, and I don't know what it is, and I don't care what it is, and I don't care what it is. Scooby Dooby Doo and Ramadama Ding Dong. Dooby Dooby Doopy Dooby Doo. All right, that's what I'll do. I'm not getting any air out of there. All liquid. Okay. I'd say it's completely bled. I'm going to stop for a minute. Okay, we have rear brakes. Well, that's good rear brakes. Excuse me. Pending test ride. And it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. This has been a tiring day. Not a happy day. But I finally got some rear brakes. So I'm going to call it a day and go take a nap.